Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Career Goals Club. And today we are super honored to have Tishauna Mullings. Tishauna is a Caribbean resident hailing from the most beautiful island of Jamaica. I am biased, second home love. So, hailing from Jamaica, this powerhouse Caribbean woman has been named a Chapman Scholar in 2019. And currently she's joining us from the UK today as we speak. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Ria. Hi, Harriet. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We are delighted to have her in our presence today because we're going to be talking all about career. We're having some girl chat today. Everybody logging on. We're going to have some girl chat today about how to really be in charge of your career, how to really, hi, Robin. Hi, Tamika. All right, so Tamita is saying hi, my two dear friends. So thank you guys for joining in. I'm gonna post some of the comments on the screen so Tishauna can see. And we're gonna be asking her some general questions. How does she become so bold? Where does she get this confidence that exudes? When Tishauna is in the room, everybody knows that she is there. So I'm gonna introduce Tishauna and let her know. Let her tell you a little bit about herself and what she does and her business that she owns, which is called Net Sorry. So Tishauna, welcome.
Hey. Hi Jamila. Hi everybody. I can see the comments. I can see Ria, Tamika, Harriet, Miss WKS. Yes, Tamita. I'm really delighted to join you today, Jamila. It's my pleasure to hear my journey every single time. Especially when you're a community person, you're a boss lady, as everybody calls me. I like to share the journey so people can know that there are challenges, there are ups, there are downs. Of course, there are fabulous times, but it's been a lot of up and down in my journey. I consider myself an edupreneur. So my business is called Next Step Lifelong Educational Services. And what is really interesting, and I'm always ready to share that first, is that my business started out of my own weaknesses and me trying to find answers for myself. I was not this confident woman that you just referred to just now to say, when I'm in a room, people can feel my presence. That's all orchestrated. There was some intentional steps that I had to take. I was not one of them born confident, bam. You know what I mean? It took a lot of intentional steps. It took learning confidence from watching YouTube videos, from doing courses, from doing prayers and fasting, asking for God for confidence. So it's been a really interesting journey, and that's the same kind of attitude and stewardship that has brought me here in the United Kingdom, studying as a shooting scholar.
So much to unpack. I know some ladies are now joining, but we have a Career Goals Club and we have over 250 women from over the Caribbean. So basically what we do here is we get together every 2 weeks and we have a Caribbean woman share about their career journey or do some type of professional training. So we had Carolee Dixon last 2 weeks ago, and she did a session. Yeah, of course. So Carolee I think she's supposed to be joining us today to hop on because everybody was excited to have you in session. So I want to know for you, like, when did you know that you were when did you discover your purpose? When did you recognize that you were destined for bigger things? Was it at NCU or was it very early in your childhood?
It was around the 5th or 6th form. So I started realizing that there was something there's something great in me to unpack, but I could not find out how to access that greatness in me. So it became like this frustrating thing. Like, I know I have messages of transformation inside of me, but how do I get that out? How do I unpack it? How do I unlock it? So I had those questions. And when I was in 6th form, I used to spend a lot of time at the guidance counselor's office, just kind of sitting in the lobby area, just being there because I wanted her to realize that I wanted help. I didn't even have the confidence to say I wanted help. I just always stuck around so she could see that I wanted help and help me. And one day she said, there's a UNICEF Child Researcher competition. Why don't you enter? So she said the head girl and she sent me. It's almost like she had the head girl and she needed somebody else. And because I'm there, she just said, go ahead. When I spoke that day, I didn't win the award overall, but I won best orator, and I was shocked. I'm like, oh my God. I go from a girl who never speaks to entering a UNICEF competition, and I won best orator. This is phenomenal. So from that day, I started researching how to find your purpose, and I pounced upon life coaching. So I started figuring out how I could be coached, and then when I was eventually coached, I wanted to learn how to be a coach. And it's out of that that I started my business, because during the life coaching process, I realized that my purpose is to help other young people unlock their purpose. And then on the journey, I realized that it was not only young people that were being impacted by what I'm doing. So this is why I decided to start to diversify my brand, to make it an intergenerational brand. I now not only work with young people, but also adults and corporate companies. So yeah.
So, Tishauna, I have a lot of questions for you. You've done some amazing, amazing things. Knowing you've only been on this earth for 30 years, and some of the things that you have accomplished, a lot of people don't accomplish that in their whole lifespan. In 2018, you were selected to be you're actually a White Light alumni, which is the Youth Leaders of America's initiative, where you go to the
Right.
US and you work for about 6 to 8 weeks, getting hands-on experience in the US. That's a very competitive premier a program offered by the US government. In 2019, you were selected as the 30 under 30 leader in the Caribbean and the USA by Ignite Caribbean. That is phenomenal, having achieved all of that under 30. In 2019, again, you strike gold again, and you are a Cheving Scholar coming from a rural parish in St. Thomas, is it? St.
Yes, St.
Thomas.
Thomas. That's right.
And going to NCU, which for those of you who aren't from Jamaica, that it's not in Kingston, and everybody thinks that Kingston schools are, glorified. Coming from NCU and really shattering glass ceiling, I would call it, for young people in St. Thomas. How are you so driven to accomplish such great things at international level?
It's about being audacious, and I know it can be hard if you're starting from scratch, because it was hard for me when I was trying to figure out, who am I, why am I here, what is my purpose. I was not as audacious, and I say that to say to probably a young woman who is at the beginning of her journey, to say the women that you look at and the women that you put on a pedestal, their journey may have started at a place where they were probably even lower than where you are now, right? So as soon as I figured out what my purpose was, I decided that anything that I want to do, I'm going to go after it. It doesn't matter if I have the money, it doesn't matter if I have the connections, it doesn't matter what I have, because anything that I don't have, I have what it takes to find that and to connect myself with people and resources to make whatever I want possible, right? And I also use I like the fact that I'm from a rural parish. I'm from St. Thomas, and then I went to NCU, which is in Manchester, which is not where I was born. So I always want to go to the places that are untapped, and well, Manchester is not unrecognized, but untapped, unrecognized, whatever. And then see how from going into those places I can innovate to make a change. And
Yeah.
that's very interesting, because that's what I'm writing my dissertation about now, those making innovations in rural spaces. And I use it as an advantage. So I'm from St. Thomas, where there's not a lot of innovation. There's not a lot of competition in certain spaces. And I use it as an advantage, because almost anything I would have done in that space would have been groundbreaking. So instead of running to Kingston where everybody is, or I don't know what is the center of everything in Barbados, you'd have to tell me.
Bridgetown.
Right. So if everybody is doing everything in Bridgetown, if you're in a rural place in Barbados or wherever you are, then whatever you do there is groundbreaking. You know what I mean? So when I figured that out, I'm like, I'm staying here and I'm breaking ground. And that's a part of what I became known for. So even on an international stage, I talk about rural regeneration. And these are the things that have allowed me to get a lot of awards. words, because people love to hear those stories. And this is a story of what I call positive deviance. I learned that term when I was on the Wildlife program. So I was explaining to a gentleman about the work that I do in my rural community, and he said, "You're a positive deviant." And I said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "That means you're in a space where you're probably seeing and experiencing a lot of negativity around you, but you decide that I'm going to do something positive to transform not only my lives, but the lives of those around me."
Fantastic. So I want to dive down into more of finding your purpose. So there are a lot of ladies on your life, and a lot of them say, I don't know, like, what is my purpose here on earth. I don't know, like, if this job in which I'm in now is fulfilling my purpose. And I know that you are a Christian and you are a firm believer in Christ. So I want to know, does that have any impact on how you found your purpose so early on? Do you think it was destined to happen? And for the ladies who are lost and struggling, any advice you would give them on how to find their purpose?
Yeah. And just before I deep dive in that answer, I just want the ladies, if you have any question about any part of my journey as I go along, I
Drop
want
it
you
in
to
the box.
put those questions in the chat. I live my life as an open book, and I love to share openly. I believe in abundance. I do not believe in scarcity. So whatever I have done, whatever I can connect you to that can support you, I'm really, really happy to share that openly. So I just wanted to put that out there. Um, of course, Jamila, God has been a major part of my journey. It's just recently that I started telling this story. Um, I have 12 siblings, so it's a whole dozen of us. Because
Wow.
yes, so my dad had 9 children in one marriage, 2 children with my mom, and another child outside. And then when I was younger, my mom used to travel overseas along with my dad. So I was living in many different households. And as a child, when you're living in so many different households, everybody have their different standards and all of that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I ended up being a very confused child. You know what I mean? My parents were doing everything they could do to support me. But while they're off, I became very confused. So my friend was God. When I was confused and I didn't know what to do, I had to run to God. So much so I used to say, well, God is my parent. You know what I mean? Like I have my mom and dad, but that person who is ever present with me is God. And so when I was a teenager, I used to pray and fast a lot. So in that moment when I had the epiphany about what my purpose was, I was praying a lot as well. When I figured out what my purpose was, you know what I realized, Jamila? I did not have the confidence to step out. So I did a 1 week fasting, and the fasting was based on finding confidence. Because I said to myself, if the Bible said, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and power and of a sound mind, then if I'm a Christian, then I cannot be carrying that spirit. I also remember another time when I used to be down for no apparent reason. And I remember somebody in the Bible that spoke to their soul and said, Soul, why are thou cast down? And I remember that day I spoke to my soul and I said, Soul, why are you cast down? And I made a declaration over my life. I said to myself, I will never be down again without a reason, because
Dang.
it cannot be of God. Because
Yeah.
when you're depressed and when you're low and when you're out of yourself, the devil can make a play field of your mind. So this cannot be of God. And let me tell you, since that day, if I'm ever feeling down, I know exactly why. I've never had that pointless, down for no reason kind of feeling. And a lot of people say to me, I have friends who are Christian life coaches, and they say, why you don't brand your business Christian? And I said, God wants me in spaces where I can influence people who are Christians and who are not Christians.
Come on now.
And, and my business started out that way. I prayed about it, and God said, I could put you in any other business, but I'm going to put you in the people building business. So even my business is branded Next Step, not Next Step Christian Life Coaching Services. But I believe that God wants kingdom people to be inserted in spaces where they can have influence. Because if the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein, we must be in places of authority and power to control those things.
I
Right?
love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I think that was some advice, and I hope you guys could see the passion coming through from Tishauna. Just let us know in the comment section if you are enjoying this chat. Now, some background of how I met this amazing woman. I met her in Washington, D.C. last year, June. So this is 1 year that I've known her. When this girl walked into the room, I said, who is this woman? When she walks into a room, she commands attention. Commands attention, absolutely. And she walks with such confidence. When she opens her mouth, it's like you have to sit up, stand up. Whatever you're doing, you have to listen to what she's saying because she is so authoritative and she commands a room. So we met last year, June in DC. I was also one of the 30 under 30. And we just formed a connection because, and we're both born in June. So June people so we had
everybody else.
Yeah. So we had a connection from there. So I want to ask you another question, Tishauna. Like, how do you go about, we spoke earlier, in the last session about expanding your network. How do you go about building your network, expanding your network, and really building genuine relationships with people?
All right. So number one, I believe in reciprocity. So when I'm looking for a mentor and I'm even trying to connect with somebody that I know I want support from, I always first think about how I can support this person. So that's always my thought. I don't approach people like just to get, right? And I remember when I just started my journey, as in when I left college, you know that feeling when you have left college and you're like, okay, so what am I going to do now? You might have had ideas during your undergrad, but when you leave, it becomes real. Unless you had a job you're walking into or walking back into, I have to figure this whole thing out. So when I left, I remember in that first month or so, I saw an article where somebody wrote to the Jamaica Gleaner talking about what to do after college. So I wrote this man and I'm like, your article spoke to me and it answered so many of my questions. I know you have a book. If I can support you anyway to get your book out, let me know. And he connected me to the Governor General. I became a Governor General ambassador, and that opened up so many more doors for me. So now I had people who wanted to be my mentor. Like people were now approaching me instead of me approaching people. And it's the same thing. My now mentor, such a detailed guy. He sends even spreadsheets to say these are the things that are going on in your life. These are the columns that you need to fill this and that in. And this is not something I tell him. These are things he gathers over time from various conversations. And in the same way, I try to position myself where anything he asks me to do, I'm always there at his service. So reciprocity is very important. And don't feel like you don't have anything to offer. Everybody needs that kind of support, and everybody has something to offer. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are in your journey. So I just want to speak that confidence into the women on here. I know some of you are really confident and bold. Some of you might be in the middle. Some of you are coming out of the starting blocks because I don't believe in saying anybody's at the bottom. But wherever you are, you have something to share. It could be a word of encouragement. It could be helping somebody with some kind of administrative task, anything. Because I don't think anybody is out there just looking for everybody to just come and draw from them. So really, that's the concept that I use. I always make sure that I'm offering value. And in that way, value usually comes back to me.
So let's talk about your pivot now. So you're in Jamaica. Last year was your year. I mean, award after award. You got this full rate scholarship to the UK, to do your master's program. And it's a major pivot because, I mean, you run a business full time, you full time employ people. And for you to walk away from your baby, quote unquote, to then go into a full time study environment in the UK, and leave your income, it had to be an incredibly tough decision. Walk us through that.
Well, it was not easy. But I believe in every challenge comes opportunity. And it may sound like a cliche thing that everybody says, but it really works. And if you have your mind in the right place, you can make it work for you. So when I was applying for the scholarship, I understood that I may have been out of, I will be out of Jamaica for a year once I get the scholarship. So what I did over that period, I started putting things in place in terms of systems for my business. And I said to myself, these are systems that I needed to have put in place a long time ago. So I use this as the ultimate opportunity to start putting systems into my business. And luckily, I was in two business accelerators at the time. So
Wow.
there's one called Scotia Vision Achiever funded by Scotia Bank, which was a really good training. It's all about systems, from financial systems to HR systems to marketing systems. So I was in that program, and I was also um, in the official government business accelerator program. So I used those to kind of put systems in place. When I came to the UK, though, it was a struggle um, to manage. And when I was living in Jamaica, one thing I was happy about, though, a lot of people were asking, what is going to happen to next step? Less people were asking, what's going to happen to Tishauna? So I felt like, whoa, the brand has its own personality. The brand has people advocating for it. And this started from just a little idea because of my own lack of confidence and finding my answers. So I just wanted to put that little caveat in there so women can understand that if you have a little idea, start the idea and you'll be amazed how big that thing grows. And then COVID came with some disguised blessings for me. Because if I'm into the training business and I can't go into a room physically, yes, I have a staff of three, and I have three consultants as well. But people like when I'm in the room, and that kind of comes with the training, coaching, consultancy business. But now that everybody is online, and that is what the normal is, it allows me to connect with a lot of my customers who were previously not open to online engagement. So that COVID has assisted in that pivot.
So much information already, and we are only 20 minutes in. And I know a lot of the ladies from our Career Goals Club, they have these business ideas, and it's just an idea. Like they are scared to implement, they are scared to do it for fear of what people may say if they fail, what society may think of them trying to start this business. Who do you think you are? Do you think you're better than me for wanting to be successful? So there's a lot of crab in the barrel kind of mentality around starting a business, and a lot of fear and holding back because we fear what people think. How did you overcome the fear to start a business coming from a rural community, a rural parish? How did you find the guts to go ahead and follow your dream?
So I believe a lot of the women on here should know the Marion Williamson poem that says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we're powerful beyond measure. And it's our light and not our darkness that frightens us most. I believe in that, right? And when I started my journey, and this part is about how your challenges can be a part of what makes your story, and I mean your success story. Because when I started my journey, I had a lot of negative influences. I had a lot of people that I thought would believe in me most that were the people that were pulling me down. And that's shocking because when the people that you expect to support you and to believe in your vision are the people who are actually tearing you down and trying to pull apart what you're trying to do, then it can really immobilize you if you don't know what you're doing. And usually when you're starting, you don't know what you're doing. You're just audacious and you have a dream. You're stepping out there and doing this. You're not even sure everything is going to come together. So I had a lot of that in the beginning of my journey. And what that did is that it supported me. I remember being in a job and I was told that your job here as an admin person is to take minutes. You're not allowed to speak in meetings, right? I remember being called in a meeting, and the purpose of that meeting was to tell me that the staff members think I'm too much, right? And one of these days, when I went into one of those meetings, you know what I did? I left and I used my monthly salary, my entire paycheck, and I paid down the rent and I opened Next Step Learning Center. And every evening I went there, and every weekend I was there because I decided that, you know what, the greatness that I feel inside of me, this job is not allowing me to unleash all of that greatness, right? And that came out of people who were speaking down to me, who were seeking to dumb me down. I didn't know at a point, and this is a powerful bit. I didn't know that I had the power to take control of my life and to do what I wanted to do with my life. I literally thought I was stuck in the job. And a lot of people are out there like that. A lot of women, they think I have to take care of my child, so I must stay in this job. If I leave this job, what am I gonna do? And then these thoughts just keep on, swirling around your head. But if you continue with those thoughts, you're never going to do what you have to do. And I'm not saying to everybody, do that major jump without a plan like I did. Everybody's story is different. Not everybody is a Steve Jobs. Not everybody is a Bill Gates. Not everybody is a Oprah Winfrey. Not everybody is a Tishauna Mullings. Some people have to get a degree. Some people like Bill Gates have no degree and they are really successful. So everybody's journey is different. But what I want to do, I want to have my degrees. So I'm doing my degrees, right? So to come back to the story, I started my business out of people that were literally dumbing me down. So if you have an idea, and you're in a job and you think it's a dead end job, start putting things together. And trust me, this time, in my opinion, is one of the best times to be alive. If you go on Google and you type in grants to fund whatever you're trying to fund, I'm almost sure you're going to find something. If you type in creating a proposal for a hairstyling business, for a scholarship program, whatever you want to do, there are so many resources out there to support. You have resources like Jamila, you have people like me who are willing to share, to say, these are the steps that I took on my journey. So there is no excuse. And recently I said this to myself, all the habits that I have had that's holding me back, I'm releasing them. Because as Caribbean people, it's easy to say, oh, this person bad mind, this person pulled me down, this person do me this. But some of us are doing it to ourselves. We're holding back our own selves.
Absolutely. We have a couple comments. So Zaria is
Yeah.
saying, I love when people share these stories. I guess it's inspiring for her. Tanya is saying, I love that. Unleash your greatness. Now we have a question. Jaleesa is asking, that system of implementation really sounds interesting. How do you implement systems after you've identified the problem, especially in rigid institutions like banks?
So this sounds like she's in the context of a job, right?
Correct. She's in a job.
Right. And then she wants to know how to implement systems. Now, I was talking now in the context of my own business. So in that context, I would have had full reign to implement whatever systems I want to implement. So let me see if I can answer this question in two parts. If you're in a business versus if you're running your own business versus if you're in a job. So
Okay.
if you're running a business, it's easy to identify. Well, it's not easy, but when there's a constraint, you will realize. So if you have a great product but you're not getting sales, you may have a marketing problem or a sales problem, right? So then you'll start researching what is the real constraint here that's causing this problem, and then set up systems around that. In the context of a job, there's this concept called entrepreneurship, which is basically how you innovate within a business. Now, the thing about innovating in a business, you're innovating in a context where there are already set regulations, policies, and procedures. Therefore, and I think Jamila can also back me up on this, you're not allowed to freely implement as you would in your business, but there's a process. So some things you'll have to clear with a boss to say, I observe in the business that we have this constraint, that we have this problem, and I have come up with a plan. Are you going to open way to discuss? Because it depends on your work environment. Some work environments are very open to innovation from their staff members, while others are more rigid. But then you have to use your, I don't want to say feminine charm, because that is sometimes misused and misconstrued. But you want to be able to communicate in a way where you are suggesting and you're showing how this could positively affect the bottom line. And if you're in a workplace where it is so rigid that nobody cares about an opinion that could better our work environment for us and for our customers, I don't know if that's a place that you really want to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know if Jamila has anything that she wants to kind
Yeah,
of add to the response.
I agree with your response, Jaleesa. It's going to be difficult to implement system in a business that are is not yours. There can be systems that you implement to do your job more effectively, but generally that will only affect you personally. But if there are colleagues or a supervisor that isn't on board with those systems, it's not going to be as effective as you would like it to be. So I think her response is more for people that have businesses. All right.
Right. And really quickly, something that I did before I left my job in the financial services sector. So I did work in that environment before. When I was a teller supervisor, I implemented a coaching system. So like every week, I had a sit down with each of my tellers, and I'd ask them, what did you think you did well on this week? What didn't you do so well on? So I didn't go to my tellers and say, I noticed that you're not serving the customer short fast enough. I noticed that you were short 5 times. I allow them to tell me, and then I support them in resolving whatever issues they are facing. And that totally transformed the way the teller area was run. So there are certain things that are not necessarily policy based that you can implement if you're smart.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on.
All right.
All right. So
Yeah,
we
she said
talked
she's
about your
finishing up.
passion. We talked about finding your purpose. We spoke about networking and how you build meaningful true relationships. We spoke about you having guts or a will to go out of the ordinary and to push through and start your own business. Now, I want to talk to you about disappointments. What would you consider to be like one of the biggest disappointments you've had on this journey?
I've had many of them. I know that I'm mastering the art of pivoting. It still gets difficult sometimes. I'm on the Achieving Scholarship now. I applied for the Schwartzman Scholarship, I think the year before I applied for Achieving. And I went all the way to New York for the interview. They flew me into New York and everything. I went to the scholarship interview and I was told that, yes, you are the type that we're looking for. And then I got an email to say I'm on the distinction list that they'll call if somebody drops out. So in essence, I didn't get through. And I was almost devastated. I'm like, I thought that everything aligned because at that point I was putting everything together. And when somebody told me to apply for Achieving, I'm like, no, I'm not applying for any scholarship. I can't be bothered because I was so disheartened that I would have gone so close to that scholarship and didn't get it. And there are other things that I've entered and thought I would have won and didn't. Um, yeah, so generally, it's just applying for things, getting rejected, and then you apply for other things and you do get through. So yeah, I've had so many disappointments. It's difficult to say which one is the top one.
So, so,
Yeah,
so
but
how do you recover from your setbacks?
I have my pity party first. I allow myself to process that emotion because I'm a big believer in the fact that you should process your emotions. And because everybody is listening to motivational stuff online and everybody is a motivational speaker nowadays, sometimes we get in the mode of, oh, get over it. Da, 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 da. You're a champion, you're a giant. Yeah, all of that is true, but you must process your emotions because I always use this analogy. I feel like when you don't process your emotions, it's like when you're cleaning and you sweep something under a rug and you keep sweeping things under a rug until one day you trip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you process your emotions, that means every day you do a clean out, you cry if you must, you call your friend that you have your pity party with and say, oh, can you imagine this happened, blah, blah, blah. But you have to put a time on that. After a while, pity party is over. What am I gonna do? So I have a team of people that are my what am I gonna do people. So I go to them and say, hey, this happened. Now I need to know what to do. Because sometimes when you're really disappointed, you just don't know what to do. And if you had support to guide you, then it would be really helpful. So I have my mentor, I have other friends who are quite level-headed that they will put a stop on the pity party. They're like, I hear you, I understand, and your feelings are valuable. did something I didn't like, and I was gonna cuss them out. I was gonna let them know, listen, you don't understand professional protocol, and let me show you how it works. And my mentor said, no, you're not gonna do that. A woman of your caliber does not communicate like that, and you're not doing that. And based on how the situation has been like a push and pull, he's like, you're not going into that push and pull conversation. You're going to leave it. And it was hard. I was upset. I was like, why are you telling me that? Me need to go custom. I need to tell him what is on my mind. I need to let her know that I'm not having it. And he said, you're not doing that. And when I woke up 2 mornings after, I was glad I didn't do that. You know what I mean? So we all of us need those people in your circle. When you're disappointed, when you're hurt, when things don't work out the way you want to, what are you gonna do now? And I challenge everybody on here to find at least two persons in your network where you can go to these persons and say to them, I've had this. What am I gonna do? And we must put our feelings. Davina is saying she agrees, and we must feel our feelings. I like that.
I love that. So Tishauna, we are all Caribbean women on here. It's about 15 of us now on YouTube. And this will be posted in the Career Goals Club. We normally post the repeats in the club for people who are on different time zones. Because there are some Caribbean women who live in Europe. I know you're in London now, so it's after 7. And there are other people that join us from like France and from Germany who watch after hours. But I want to ask you specifically, how do you deal with
Yes.
bad mind people? Like, how do you deal with people who are on an agenda to discredit your work or to speak negative of you in order to block opportunities that may come your way? How do you deal with bad mind people in essence? Haters. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Tashana?
Yeah.
We
So I
can't.
have a
Okay, we can hear
two-part
you.
answer to that,
Go ahead.
right? Because when you live in the Caribbean and you're a goal-getter, you're a trendsetter, you're anybody who is making. Yeah, yes, I can. Can you hear me? Just in case. So
Yes,
seem
we
we have a
can hear
little
you.
delay.
Hmm. Yeah, we have a
Okay,
delay.
right. Jaleesa is saying that she rebuked the bad mind people. But anyway, let me move on with my point. So, in the Caribbean context, we know that bad man is a real thing, right? So once you're a goal-getter, you're a trendsetter. And as I was saying before, anybody who wants to make anything of yourself, you have to be prepared to have the bad mind people there. So it's Crystal Tomlinson who spoke about this concept. She said there's a bad minder and the bad mindee. And then the noun is bad mind. Bad mind is a thing, it's a real
Love it.
thing.
Love it.
The
Love
bad
it.
mind obviously is the people that bad mind in other people, and the bad mindee gets bad minded. And she was sharing that everybody at some point in our lives we have seen something, or let us say you see somebody achieve something that you know is undue or they don't deserve it, and you say, boy, look how me work hard and look how them, you know what I mean? So she was saying that none of us not really immune to bad mind, so we must be aware that it exists and make sure it don't take you over. And she also said, just give love and just share, because it's very hard to bad mind somebody who has a big heart where all they're trying to do is share and serve others. Somebody who doesn't get all they can all they get, then sit on their can. You know what I mean? People who bad mind those people at them look bad. You understand me? Because there's no reason to bad mind a person.
True.
Um, and also, I teach this to my mentees a lot as it relates to getting offended by bad-minded people. I don't get offended by bad-minded people anymore, right? And it is still a process. It's a working process, because sometimes some things happen and it kind of catch you for a while and you go off and then you realize you're out of alignment. It happens to me all the time. It's a process. Now, I say this: offense happens inside of you. not with the offender. So whether or not the person was trying to offend you or not, offend happens within you who get offended. Because if I'm trying to hurt you and I said, Jamila, you're too enough, you can decide that
Yeah, I'm enough.
whatever. Enough people make it, enough, and as some stay, I'm like it. And it's fine if you want things so big you up for that opinion, right? And if I didn't mean it, if I was just saying, boy, she always doing things, and then you take it as something, then you get offended. So I always say it's always a better position to become immune to offense. That's a process and it's easier said than done. But when you become immune to offense, it's easier to deal with bad mind people and just anybody who is trying to negatively influence you.
So Tashana, I personally, me, I've experienced the same thing. Starting my business is 4 years old this month actually, and a lot of people had a lot to say. Oh, you're too
Congrats.
young. Thank you. You're too young. You don't know enough about the industry. You don't know a lot about HR, and I consider myself to be a disruptor. So me coming in and doing things differently and shaking things up, getting all of these awards internationally, having the experience to work and travel because I am an AVLP alumni. People in the industry that have been here for years and never took the opportunities that I took, them start badminding me. And at first, it used to make me upset. I used to be really upset. I used to be so heartbroken by it because some of these are people that I would have looked up to, that are now like sitting in petty parties and having conversations about me or sending screenshots of seminars that I'm doing and laughing about it. But for me, if I'm following my purpose and I'm doing what God has called me to do, you can laugh about me all you want, but you can't touch the anointing God has on my life. So if
Amen.
that I'm supposed to get through, and if it means that I'm supposed to be successful, not a mocha talk, not a mocha things that in terms of you trying to block opportunities can't stop me from getting through. So you should be worried about watering your own grass and not worried about how green mine is or what fertilizer I'm using.
You're
Everybody should
preaching now.
have their own grass because you do not know what assignment God has put me on or what assignment my assignment and Tishauna's assignment are two different assignments. Two different assignments. And that's the exact reason why you should not be worried about what people are doing. Focus on yourself. And I think some people like to project on you. Like people like to, they're insecure in themselves and they sit down and they wonder, oh, she's so bossy. How is she so confident to do things that I am scared of? What makes her so different from me that she's willing, in
Mhm.
face of fear, to go ahead and do something that's never been done before? How does she, coming from a rural community in St. Thomas, coming from a rural community where I'm from in St. John, nobody don't make it from over there. Who makes you, what gives you the validation to want to put yourself where you do not belong? You weren't meant to be successful.
Mhm.
People didn't mean it good for
Yeah.
you, but you were following your own assignment. And I'm so happy that you came and I did not send Tishauna questions before this chat. So she is speaking from the heart.
Everything is raw, uncut, unedited, uncanny.
Uncut. This is uncut. This is raw, and this is her unrehearsed. So I really want you guys to use this opportunity to ask her anything that you guys want to ask her because she's here and she's willing to share information. Next question. So
Right. And as you were saying that, people laughing and so on. Who laugh last, laugh best. That's what they said. That's what they say in the Caribbean. So if people want to laugh, that's fine. I mean, I've had that. When I just started my business, people were laughing. People were like, "Where are you going with that?" I remember when I won the first entrepreneurship competition that I entered my business in, somebody said, "Oh, you're just having the fire now just to enter a competition. I'm sure this is not something that will last." And I started my business at NCU. And the last time I checked, I left NCU 2012 and it's 2020 and I'm still in business. You know
all
what I mean?
right. Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what you do with what people say. I always use it as fuel. And just to connect back with something that you asked me earlier, when things don't work out, it gives me a fire in my belly, because I believe too that success can be the greatest enemy of further success, because it can breed complacency. So you feel like, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that, and you can walk. You know, some people who achieved something since 1991, and they
Yeah.
still go everywhere and say, you know, in 1991, I was this. In 1991, I achieved. Oh, hello, it's 2020 now. What are you doing now? What did you achieve recently? You know what I mean? So it's important when you go through a disappointment or you did not win, to use that as fuel to say, what am I going to win next? What am I going to do now? Yeah. And I'm open to share anything that people wants to ask, really. I've done the wildlife program. I'm willing to talk people through how to apply successfully for that. Also for the Chevening Scholarship, Jamelia and I did 30 under 30. Sometimes I can't remember all the stuff I've done.
That's too much.
Yeah, but I'm always willing to share. As I said, it's abundant. I believe in abundance. So yeah.
So what's the future for Tishauna as we wrap this up? Like, what's next for you? You've done so much. You're wrapping up your master's now. I know you're working on your thesis, so I'm gonna let you get back to that. Like, what's next for you? What can we see from you? What can we expect? And secondly, you can tell the viewers where to find you.
Okay, yeah, great. So I said earlier that I consider myself an edupreneur, disrupting and innovating in the education space. I'm writing my dissertation as well on edupreneurship, particularly in a Caribbean context. So I'm going to continue building my business, of course, and spreading that far and wide. I'm looking forward to coming to Barbados and doing big things over there with you. I'm looking forward to that. I also want to hold a diplomatic office. I don't know when, but that's something that I'm definitely looking
We claim
into.
it. We claim it, sis. We claim it.
We are claiming it. I did my undergrad in psychology and business. I'm now studying development administration and planning. Trying to put all of that together. I possibly may do a PhD in the middle of my master's when it was whopping me. I told myself that I'm never going to do another degree. But you know, as go-getters, you're coming close to the end of it, so you might start thinking, all right, career planning, rest of it, what
Correct.
am I going to do next? I know we don't plan just in terms of next year. We plan in terms of next 5 years, next 10
Correct.
years,
Correct. Correct.
because we're not going to work so hard forever.
Guys, let me tell you, me and Tishauna, we talked about 3 weeks ago, and she said, Jamila, let me ask you a serious question. When you did your master's in the UK, what were your grades? I said, Tishauna, I never see an A yet. And I mean, you have to be willing to share information with your community because everybody is going through it or has been through it in some way. And I find information sharing and helping each other through trials, it helps us to feel like we're not alone. So Ria is asking Tishauna a question. How do you ladies manage the low moments in your businesses since the buck stops at you?
And just because I'm struggling to get A's in the UK. And I feel like not enough of us talk about those things. And it kind of connects back to low moments. I'm going to come to actual business. Um, I was like, why am I not getting A's? No matter how hard I work, I might get a B plus. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for some grades, so I don't know yet if I can say I have never gotten an A. But I spoke to somebody that I respect highly, that I consider to be even smarter than me. And the person said, my first grade when I was there, Tishauna, in the UK, studying for my master's, was a 54% on my first essay. And this is somebody that you would see as a bright sparks person that's always getting A's. So, I think that I like just being open. So Rhea is asking how we manage low moments in our business since the buck stops at you. That in itself is hard. Female entrepreneur, you feel like for anything to move, you have to. And at some point in time, I was amateur, everything I train view and self. So in the moment first, understand color for them. If moments come, so you have to pre-plan for the low moments. Sometimes it's a live group of people that you'll go to the talk to. Being a part of this community, the Career Goals Club is a good place too, where you can go and say, listen, I have this particular low moment. And you have other women, other people that can share to say, these are the resources that I use. This is what I use to pull me up out of those low moments. And don't underestimate prayer. Since I've been here in the UK, I've had some low moments, both in the context of my business and just general. I've done a lot of journaling, and sometimes I write powerful stuff in my journal that when I go back to those things, they encourage me almost as if it's someone else talking to me, right? So plan for it because they will come, and set up a system, real people that you can go to, real resources that you can go to when you start feeling low.
That's sound advice, Tishauna. Thank you so much. Once again, I want to thank you for being so open, engaging, willing to share, willing to do what you do best, educate and build Caribbean young people and Caribbean women, and doing so ably at the front, leading by example. Once again, you can follow Tishauna on Instagram. She has 2 pages. They're scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Tishauna also is the owner of Next Step. So when you go on her Instagram, also make sure to follow her business. They are offering online courses, so jurisdiction or demographics does not limit you from being able to use their services. So go and check out the awesome, awesome, awesome work that they're doing. And I hope that this conversation was some inspiration to you and to help you. So if there are no more comments or no more questions, let's see. I know we are delayed because we're using a streaming service. But thank you so
Oh
much.
yes, we are delayed because I realized they're responding to things that we would have said a few
Before, yeah, because we're on a streaming service. So Tishauna, you want to say anything? Any last final words before we go?
Just to say thank you for allowing me to share here in the Career Goals Club. I'm sure that you don't bring just anybody onto your platform. You make sure that there are persons that you think that are persons of substance that can add value. The women that comes on here, so I was really happy to share and to be open and authentic, as I love to show up in every space that I show up. And just to publicly say, I'm really, really proud of you as well. Having met you, I met you when we were both winning 30 on the 30 awards, which means that we're both young women who are just their month. So I'm looking forward to just connecting with you further. My business page is NEXXSTEPP. On Instagram on all platforms. So it's 2X and 2P's. It's a unconventional spelling. We love to disrupt everything already,
Yeah.
including
I'll
spellings
post
of words.
and I'll post it.
So thank you so much, Jamila. And yeah,
Oh, you're speaking.
Alicia, Chantel, Davina, everybody who came on. Right. Sometimes when you listen to this content or these types of content, it soaks and then questions come up as we reflect. So if you have any further questions, I'm sure you can reach out to Jamila directly or feel free to DM me on Instagram.
All right. So thank you guys so much, so much, so much for coming. And we'll see you in the next 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, we are dealing with time management. So 2 weeks from now, we have a new speaker, and that's going to be a development workshop on time management. You will need a planner or a journal and an open mind coming to the session. So as usual, I'll see you in the portal. And Tishauna, once again, thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.